My name is Jess Cervellon, and I'm super excited to bring you my new podcast, The Juice with Jess. This podcast is going to be about everything in your customer's journey. We're talking acquisition, awareness, making that purchase, retaining that customer, bringing them back around, and everything in between. This is going to be all about delivering dope brand experiences and talking to some really amazing people who are in the customer experience space, the marketing space, and everything in between. Welcome back to another episode of The Juice with me, Jess. This week, I am still in Vegas at Shop Talk, and if you are tuning in via the YouTube channel, you will see an IV bag behind me in true Vegas style. We are doing IV recovery from a suite at the Four Seasons. Don't ask, I'm perfectly fine and not hungover. Anyway, this week I also am super excited because I have Roma Yumul, who is the CX manager for Doctor Squatch. And if you're not familiar with Doctor Squatch is a personal skincare brand that specializes in soaps and amongst other hygiene products. Roma's going to tell you more about it. Roma, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey guys, I'm Roma. I'm the CX manager at Doctor Squatch, which is a men's concentrated, naturally derived personal care brand. So we do specialize in bar soaps. We're going into skincare, lotions, you name it, honestly. Shampoos, conditioners. We're really trying to up the men's personal care game. As our founder, Jack, does say on a lot of videos. I feel like I've had that memorized for a while, but it's real. And that's what we're doing. And I'm really excited to be here.
Well, I'm super excited to have you on because, we've actually have had a member of the Doctor Squatch team on already. We talked more about copy, but this time we get to talk about CX. And I'm so interested to hear about like what the brand voice is like, the audience, your process, how you're looking at analytics, all of these things. And then super fun fact, we'll also dive into Roma worked at Anthropology as the omnichannel, on the omnichannel ops team, which I think is really interesting to even talk about from like an omnichannel perspective. But let's not go there just yet. Let's go here. Okay. So tell me about Dr. Squatch. Like I see you guys honestly everywhere, not just on like D2C, but I see you at like random Ace Hardware.
Yes, it's haunting. It's a haunting thing to be a part of, and haunting in a good way. Like I just feel like our retail team, our wholesale team is like always double time. Well, there's just like a huge group of them in our office. Shout out team, what up? But they're really on top of it. We have like very good partnerships with these folks, like especially at Ace, like. And our support team actually does help out with them for their business needs. And honestly, like I think that while personal care is a saturated market, it's just so niche at Dr. Squatch. Like the whole purpose in the very beginning, if we're gonna go back, way back.
Yeah.
In the very beginning, Jack, our founder, his selling point was that he would sell these naturally derived soaps at a farmer's market. And like those farmer's market, you'll go there. They have like lavender, rose, like all of like the really girly pop scents. Totally. And I love that our customers love coconut castaway. But like realistically, do we have like a lumberjack who wants to smell like rose was like his thought process. He's like, what if we could do this, but make very like manly sense for it? And that's just kind of where we landed. And it resonates with a lot of our customers. They want to treat themselves with like a high quality product that you're putting on yourself at the end of the day after doing all of this like hard labor. So like for Ace, it's like, it's a good sell, you know?
Yeah.
Like, if you're like working under someone's car, like you're going to want to like treat yourself. Like, and I don't think that like, you know, a guy could really like walk into like Lush comfortably, even though they should. I think that everyone should be able to do that. But it was an audience that needed some TLC.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting, and like just knowing your product market fit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you know, Jack just knew this product market fit, but I think you're absolutely right. But like, think about it, like soap brands. Like when we were growing up, our dads using like Irish Springs and like all these like strong smelling scents, but like not really. But then like most women would use like the like really pretty scents from like
Yes.
maybe Lancome.
And where's the variety? Like, where's
Yeah.
the fun? And we want to bring that fun back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think you guys definitely do bring a lot of fun back. Like, let's be real. Like, Doctor Squatch is my assumption, just from like outside looking in,
Yeah.
is what is it? A Sasquatch, right?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
that is the logo. What's on the logo is a Sasquatch, and I think that's like, so Doctor Squatch,
Yeah.
right? But like what I get from that is very like lumberjack and very like manly, right?
Yeah.
Like, but in a fun way.
It is so fun. And also one of my biggest questions is like, is our and I've never asked anyone in our company this question, so like you're hearing it here first. It's like, is our Sasquatch a doctor? Like he does like surgery, or does he have a PhD?
Or is he in
Who
a lab?
knows? Exactly.
Formulating.
I think that
the aloe version
Yeah.
of the cell. You know?
That's him.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's all of them.
Yeah. I think that's awesome. And I think it's awesome to like really know your brand voice. I'm really interested. Like, so I know we like dived really into this, but you have so many retail locations. So that like in turn turns you into an omni-channel, right? Brand, right? How does the support team support all of like the wholesale accounts, all of the other retailers? Like what type of inquiries are you getting from that?
I mean, at the end of the day in CX, it's always going to be like Wizmo. Even if you're dealing with another business, they need to know where their inventory is. And for us, it's really just a matter of not even like what the retailer is or like who we're dealing with, just understanding where to find like all of your sources of information, whether or not it's in the same place. It probably won't be. Like for like wholesale inquiries, we'll have to go on different platforms to see it. But at the end of the day, when they're like when all these different people are inquiring about stuff, the support team really just has to be equipped with that information. And I think you can really tell the difference in CX with a support team that just doesn't know and you keep getting passed on to different people, and one that where it's really centralized, where it's like we have very solid communication with our partners and like we can give them that information relatively quickly.
What channels are you guys in? Like email? You do SMS?
Yes.
Right?
So we do email, chat, SMS, social media comments, and DMs. What else do? We do like Amazon inquiries. Like basically like if you're dealing with a marketplace like retailer, like we'll have their inquiries coming in from like Amazon, Walmart, those places.
Wow, you're like literally everywhere.
It's like it's everything everywhere all at once, but Doctor Squatch.
How did the company come up with that though? Like, so I know like if I'm looking at like a brand that's scaling, right?
Yeah.
I see a brand that's out there and they're like scaling, they're like brand new. They're thinking like, okay, well, I want to support my customer in email and social channels, but like, do they add channels onto it, or was it like a free for all? Like,
no, we added channels onto it, and it was like a gradual kind of like working up to it, where I know that our teams are like very like not segmented, but very like specific. People are doing very specific things at Doctor Squatch. I stay in as much of a lane as I can in CX. You work with everyone. But I do know that when we were expanding, because I did join in that sweet spot where like we're just growing. Like it's like post Super Bowl, like first Super Bowl ad, like post like first Star Wars launch, and we're like super growing. And I'm like, hey, I'm in the thick of it. What's up? But when we thought about adding on new channels, it was more so like okay, well, we reached this milestone. Where do we want to grow? And the marketing team wants to grow on socials. So our support team's obviously going to want to like accommodate for that. So then, like Meta Marketplace came along and like we wanted to support that. But like really our traction comes from like our community engagement as well. Like we're a very well engaged brand. I think like even with our partners, like our support team, like with our platforms, we're so engaged with our like platforms that we use. We help those companies out. We advise them on things, but also what I love about Dr. Squatch is that we're so engaged with our customers. Like, and if they're like, we want you here, and we get enough of those inquiries, I'll be like, hey guys, I'm going to raise a flag. They want us on Amazon. And like, whether or not, because that wasn't me, but whether or not that comes from like somebody internally, they'll detect what our customers want and they'll move towards it. And we won't want to like do a free for all grab, because like we'll want to like work on it, make the base of it, make sure that's good, and then move on.
Right.
Yeah.
Very methodical.
Yeah.
And like, are you utilizing like analytics and like data? I mean, you said that like if you see enough people on a channel, like you'll be like, hey, we need to like add this to our channel.
Yes.
I would. So I guess my question to you is like, what types of analytics are you looking at? Are you looking at like ticket volume? Are you looking at like negative or positive feedback that you're getting on these places? Like, what's your decision-making process of like, no, we need to be in this channel?
I think that when it comes to any decision, we look at ticket volume first.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll want to look at whether or not it's negative or positive sentiment on that ticket, and really analyze what our customers are saying, what their CSAT scores are for those tickets to want to drive change in that direction. I think that for a second, there was a rocky ground with fulfillment stuff and CTD for Doctor Squatch. So then there was like a lot of complaints at the time where they're like, I could just like get something on Amazon like in like 2 seconds. And then we were like, well, that could happen. But when it comes to ticket volume, I think that we have a really good ticket tagging system where we can identify what drove a customer to even come to support in the first place. So we have like a system that's drivers and solutions, and they're categorized mostly by teams at Doctor Squatch. So like we'll have like Wizmo is its own category because like we always want to know like whether customers are still out here like not being able to find their orders at all. And then we'll have things like product launch, like so that'll be like if a product just got launched by us, we'll want to know whether or not they're making, just like random questions, random inquiries about the product, like whether or not they're giving positive or negative feedback about a partnership. But like those drivers really do help us get to the right direction with our customers, because like we'll be able to see like, the solutions, they do matter because like we'll want to analyze what the support team did and whether that led to a better score, especially if they started off the interaction kind of fiery. But I think that realistically having that feedback loop of like having a very clear or identifying a very clear intention from the customer is super important in driving business decisions across Dr. Squatch. And I think for a while, we were all just like, what's this like new tagging system gonna do? But now it's something that, our internal stakeholders like really look at. And I really appreciate it when they do, because I love to nerd out about it.
I know. I think it's really interesting, like as CX people, like a lot of times you go in, you're supporting the tickets and you're doing the things, but if you don't have data behind it, or if you don't create that feedback loop behind it, you're not going to be able to get your point across.
Yes.
And I think like hot tip, right? If I'm a brand new CX team, I'm just coming out into the market, make sure you're tagging your conversations, even if it's the lowest amount of tags, but you need to know what is happening in your channels to be able to make decisions for the business based off of your customers' feedback.
Exactly. And I think that some channels have more weight than others. Like, of course, like email and chat, those people are on the website. They want to buy something right then and there. And of course, like emails from other platforms like Amazon, they're there, they want to buy something. Like we will put more weight onto that than like a bunch of people spamming Facebook hate comments. That's still important for us to understand like why they're spamming hate comments. But like with someone who's like, I have this thing in my cart, I'm having so much difficulty, I'm about to dip, bro. Like that makes a difference. It makes a difference for everybody in the brand. And I think that like, honestly, like I love a good vibe, but like a vibe with a number really hits different.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a good one.
It does. I do. I mean, and I am like the queen of just vibing out. I'll just be like, yeah, that sounds good. But like, honestly, when someone's like, I got this percentage right here. And honestly, like 70% of our customers absolutely hate the vibe right now. They're going to be like, ooh, yeah, that's a lot. And we'll be like, 70%, by the way, is like 50,000 inquiries. And they're like, oh my God. Yeah, that's like serious. Like when you have that number, it really just sets in. Yeah.
Vibe on numbers.
Exactly.
Number vibes.
Exactly. And I was never a woman in STEM. I was a comm major. So it's just like, I do love nerding out on the numbers. And it's just,
oh man, there's something about it that just is like, you get that like you get your report and you see all those percentages and graphs.
It's like a mic drop. I know.
Because
it's never, well, it's going to be controversial. It's never really a CX problem. You know, we're here to help. We're here to help. So when like we're bringing something to another team, we're like, brother, you got to hop on it. And they're like, you know, like maybe not. And it comes back in the future. We're like, the receipts are here.
Yeah.
And we're not the ones who are driving this. I'm sorry, bestie, but you got to fix it. Our customers are really just like, I'm about to dip out of this party real soon. And we're like, no, it goes till like 2 a.m. Yeah. It's like 11. What are you doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Man, okay. I have so many more questions. Like, and I want to know though, because like Dr. Squatch and just even like talking to you, it is a vibe. Like it is a vibe, right? Like I can tell the brand has a vibe. And so, and I can tell you as like a CX manager, like have the vibe. So I'm curious as the manager and like the leader of a team, how do you set the team up for success in terms of like the brand voice? Like how are you training the team on the brand voice? And then also, this is a loaded question, but like, do you have different CX personas?
Oh, absolutely. We can get to that at the end because I love that question. But in terms of like setting a team up for success, we work with an external partner for customer support. And I do have a CX associate who reports to me at Doctor Squatch. Shout out, Chelsea. Love ya. But to set them up with the brand voice and like ensure that they're really leading every single interaction with a good vibe is so, so important. Because when I stepped in and like in general, like the service, like the outside contracted service industry is so formal, like so like, hello, sir, how are you? Like, how's it going? And I understand because that's how, you know, bigger brands want it. Like, you know, your cell phone service is going to want someone to answer an email like, hello, sir or madam.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry this happened to you. And we did have our team at some point. They were still fun with it, but they were still very formal when I stepped in. And I wanted them to really step into the brand voice because our customers will straight up just reach out and be like, I love your ads. I bought, you know, back when Cedar Citrus was a thing, I bought a bar of Cedar Citrus. You know, if we're talking current, I bought a bar of Coconut Castaway and I love it. And like, if you are stuck in that, like, thank you very much, I hope you have a good day, it's like not very fun.
Boring.
Right?
Yeah.
So like the way that I train them is really just like, one, I'm just kooky as is. Like, I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm built like this. But I think at the same time, it was like not shying away from my own personality. And I think that if we're going to draw from like my experience at Anthro, I was a customer like front facing and back office person leading a big team already. So stepping into this role was already very like sort of natural for me because I'm training front facing people again, but in a different way. And I think that it's really important to have the hype, to have the forgiveness, but also to also understand like intrinsically what your brand is going for. So the tone shift between Anthro to Dr. Squatch could seem like a lot for some people. It's like, I mean, I probably look like the prime Anthro customer, very dainty girly, who looks like she's about to like pick corn in a field and make an apple pie. That like kind of gives. If you're viewing
in, check out Roma's outfit. It is very Anthro, I'm not gonna lie, but
it's like very coquette.
You
know,
be who you are, girl.
Exactly, and we have like a very like different set of customers at Anthro. It's a women's based brand, but like I think that as long as you understand who your customer is and give yourself kind of like the leeway to really research like who you're working with.
Yes.
It comes naturally. Like training your team to do that comes naturally.
Yes.
So at Anthro, it's like, yes, I do have a different customer persona. And I think my customer persona will always be my old Anthro persona where I pick up the phone and I go, hi, this is Anthro. This is Roma. It's so nice to talk to you. Can I help you out with anything specific today? My voice immediately changes. And at Dr. Squatch, I can't answer a phone like, hey guy, what's up? Like, that's not me. I'm going to answer the phone with the same thing, but I'm going to understand the exact same like things that I'll need to say to speak to our customer where I'll be like, I hope you have a Squatch-tastic day. You know, you're going to have to like roll with the punches.
Yeah.
And I think to get your brand voice to that point, we did work with Scott, who does copy for us. Love you, Scott. But we did work with Scott and our former community manager, Johnny, to like really refine that voice because like we're drawing from what they're saying online and taking it back into our support team. So it's like, yo, I love being a Squatcher. It's like, I'm just going to steal that and put it in our email, and you're going to love us for it. And I think that it's good because our support team are like relatively young peeps. They're like 18, 19-year-olds, which again, I think Anthro equipped me for that because I was really young when I was working at Anthro. And then when I became everybody's manager, I was working with young people. It's just really getting that across to them. It's like, yo, if you're at a store and you're not vibing with someone, would you buy from that store? And they're like, no. I'm like, exactly. So when I'm training them, I'm like, you gotta nail the vibe, but it can't be a natural. What if you're stiff and you're like, watch-tastic day? That's not natural. And they're not speaking to anyone on the phone, but you could definitely tell when it's like, it goes from like formal to like casual to formal.
Not. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
But like all in all, it's like it's kind of a half answer, but it's just like I think that brand voice comes top down.
Yep.
And especially in a support team, you have to champion that voice.
Yeah.
And if you're like not willing to, it's not going to come across to your customer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your CX is great. That phrase is so last season. We want to hear your CX is incredible because at Customer, we believe in delivering incredible customer experiences. Introducing KIQ Agent Assist, the ultimate CX team AI sidekick built on our CRM to give agents superhero capabilities and efficiency. When building KIQ Agent Assist, we had goals in mind. 1, get rid of long customer wait times and increase the speed of customer resolution. 2, provide the CS team with real-time data for personalized prompts. 3, delegate those mundane tasks to AI. And 4, free up the agents to deliver a human experience. But listen, we didn't stop there. We wanted to deliver more. Check out KIQ Agent Assist's amazing features with suggested responses, automatic two-way translation in 53 languages, and conversation summary. Upgrade your customer experience with KIQ Agent Assist. Try it today and see the difference. Customer, delivering incredible CX every single time.
Switching gears slightly, but staying on the same subject, like how do you think about personalization in CX at Doctor Squatch? I know we're talking about like, okay, personalization in the sense of like having have a great Squatch-tastic day, right? But like individually for those customers, how are you thinking about personalization? Are you like, bro?
Yeah.
Bruh.
Well, I think that again, it like came with training.
Yeah.
But our support team has a really good pulse on like how long our customer has been with us, how much they know. We have really specific Shopify tags to denote like who someone is. Are they like a VIP customer? Like, did they make X amount of purchases? They get auto tagged. Are they a Scrub Club member? Like, they're also going to be tagged in Shopify.
Right,
so our support team will see them and just be like, okay, well, now that this customer is reaching out to us, they've spent X amount of money, they've had this many interactions with us, and they look at the history too. It's just like, sometimes you got history with someone. It's just like, oh my God, love you.
I know.
And you can really just, and you know, there's a lot of people involved, but if you've worked with this person before, or if this specific support agent has worked with a customer repeat, they'll usually get assigned that person's ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because then like it builds rapport. It's like, I love you, Luis. It's like, Luis is like, I love you too, Bobby. And
That's
love
awesome.
That. Yeah.
Because I think at times you, like when you have a support team and you have so many tickets, you know, all these things, you don't really think about like the personalization in that sense of like having an individual customer support agent working with an like individual customer, right? That they're constantly getting. So I think that that's a really unique and good idea.
Yeah.
And I want to implement into like my teams that I manage.
It also comes from that anthro background. It's like we had women come into the store, and I told you I'm like back office and customer facing. We had women coming into the store. They'd walk in, take their sunglasses off. They're like, where's Roma? I need Roma right now. And it's like, I think that our customers, even if it's like, you know, an online interaction, there's not really a face to the name, depending on what platform you're using, but there's not really a face in the name. But if you keep getting the same person, you're like, oh my God, I'm so tight with this person.
Yeah.
And they just hit it out of the park every time I reach out. You're going to have like more attachment to the brand. And also it makes it special because then you're not being like passed around to like 7,000 people.
Yeah.
Like knowing someone, it's like you're almost like you have an in.
How big is your team? Like including the outsourced team and internal?
Around like right now, like 75. It could sometimes
Wow.
go to like 170 low key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, depends on holidays.
Yeah.
What's happening. Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And I know them. Like I visit their office like near shore,
Mhm.
and they constantly say this to me. They're like, I'm kind of like, wow, thank you. But they're like, you're our sickest client, bro. And I'm like, why? Like, I don't
Yeah.
understand. They're like, because other companies aren't as tight with us. Like in this world of like,
Yeah.
like offshore support, you know, our client isn't really interested in getting to know us. But then you're just like, what up, Raul? How's soccer going? Like, and it's like, yeah, you build that relationship, and it's almost like you have an internal team.
Yeah.
I think it's important, regardless of whether or not they're internal, that like you know what's going on, you care about their well-being, like, and that'll probably encourage them to be like, yeah, maybe I should put like 3 more seconds of effort into this interaction.
Well, you're exactly right. Like, so a lot of teams are made up in various different ways. Like it's internal or it's outsourced. And either way, the culture of a CX team is so important. Whether those like it's third party or internal, like bringing people into the fold is the only way you're going to be able to deliver a dope brand experience and a dope brand voice.
Yes.
Okay. And that applies. Like my hot take is like, it's not just CX teams. Like I know people who like freelance marketing, right? If you are going to be freelancing or having it or having any sort of third party outside of your company, you have to bring those people into the fold. And it's not just about like, okay, like I'm going to give you this SOP. Like, no, build a relationship with them.
Yes.
Build a relationship of like showing them what your brand experience is like, because then you're going to get better work out of them.
Yes, you are. And honestly, like when we have a new SOP, I just take the time to walk them through it. Because, you know, you can give them an SOP and be like, do this, and they will do it. But like there will be like funks and like little like things to sort out that you won't even know about because it won't make it up to you.
Yeah.
But as long as you like have that open communication with them and you're like, do you have any questions? Is this unclear at all?
Yeah.
You just nip it in the bud.
Yeah.
It's just much more efficient that way. And also like way more humanistic.
Yeah.
Like you always want to be like a tangible and accessible person to these people.
Yeah.
There are no CX overlords. That's like so played out. That's weird as hell.
CX overlords.
Yeah.
That short's going to be hilarious. Okay, I want to just dive into like retention a little bit. The whole other side of CX, right? How does Dr. Squatch think about retention? I know obviously you have a subscription program, all these things, and like you have this really like dope brand experience that you're developing out, but like what other tactics are you guys utilizing to build loyalty?
I think it's like it just also boils down to, and it's hard to be an every woman, you know your whole support team, you know all your customers, but really just being in the trenches with your support team. It's just like, yeah, I know Peter reached out 7,000 times last year about this rash that he's developed, and like maybe he should try a different scent. It doesn't seem like it's
Like,
working
sure.
out. Yeah.
The aloe's not working for you.
Exactly. And I think retention is all about like, again, knowing your customer, like really, really knowing your customer. Like sometimes almost on a too personal level, we get photos in our inbox that we probably shouldn't get, but like we know them when we see them. But I think that when we think about retention as a CX team, it's just about alleviating all those pain points. If we have somebody like yelling about the same issue over and over again, and now they have like a mob of people with like flames and like torches, we're gonna be like, we gotta act on this ASAP. It is a huge pain point, and this is what people are saying about it. And we do use people's messages and show those as examples to people who want to understand further in our company.
Right.
And I think for us, like in terms of personalization, you know, our support team is very versed and trained in understanding, again, like those customers. They look at their profiles, they look at the tags, and also their purchase history. We want them to encourage our customers to try new things and really like not sell it to them, but like even just like if we notice that the scent profile you go for on our website is all citrus, we're gonna be like, maybe you should give grapefruit IPA a shot. Like I feel like you've done summer citrus in all of your subscriptions for the past 2 years. Buddy, we want you to try something new. And if it doesn't work out, that's fine. But like we want to push the bounds for you a little bit.
Yeah. So on your subscription programs, like, are you suggesting to them, like, in the program itself, or is it a personal, like, email?
It's like if we're having an interaction with the CX team and they notice that you're a subscriber, they're going to do that work. They're going to dig into their subscription and really like offer that opportunity to do some one-to-one shopping with them. And I think that that's the way that I want our team to think about personalization.
Totally. And here's the other thing. That also like turns your CX team into revenue building.
Yes.
Right? It's not just about servicing them. It's actually like the proactivity of like surfacing this information about the customer, all of these things, like is going to help your team actually be salespeople in a way. Right.
Yes.
And it's like, because at the end of the day, like everybody looks at a CX team and they're like, oh, do you generate revenue for me? Yeah. Look at us. So I think that's really like awesome that you're like already thinking through those things and like you're thinking about how to like be revenue generating on your team.
Yeah. And I just think that there is so much value in a CX team in general. I think that, yes, you want someone like kind of at the door, especially if it's like an issue, you want to resolve the issue as soon as possible. But it's like creating that lasting impact with your customer is going to bring them back in. And I think, again, it's just something that comes from the perspective of me working in that position at Anthro. We were always so customer centric. And like, yes, if an interaction is lasting me like an hour and 30, I do know that that customer is going to come back looking for me specifically. But even if they don't look for me or if they don't find me, they're going to like still be helped out by like great people.
Yeah. And they're going to have a dope experience.
Exactly.
Right?
And they're going to be like
the brand experience.
And right. And you're looking at, you know, and you can also look at this in that perspective where like you're working at one of many locations. We're working in a brand of, you know, like many varieties online.
Yeah.
What's stopping that person from going elsewhere? The entire interaction you have with them. That's what's stopping it. Like we're there not just to help out and just be available, but we're there to turn that frown upside down.
I say that all the time. Turn that frown upside down.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so we're talking so much about like personalization and like delivering this dope experience, but I'm actually really curious because I talk about this a lot with other like CX leaders. How are you incorporating AI into your tech stack? Like, are you even doing that?
No.
Ooh,
spicy. But like it's on the
Which
roadmap.
I assumed actually.
We want to, right? But like I think that at the time when we were really exploring it, we were looking at it at a deflection standpoint.
Yes.
How many people can we deflect? How much money can we save? And like I think that there are operational tactics that you can implement for your support team to make that happen, you know, without having that AI tool. And I really don't think you should be asking like what AI could. Isn't this like a JFK quote? Like, but you shouldn't be asking what AI could do for you, but like how you could best utilize it for your business. And I think for us, while we're like no longer kind of in like the extreme, like we need to deflect everything space, it's just like, okay, how could it help us drive our goals of having like this elite customer experience? Like, how could we use AI to like really like start to segment like, you know, sentiment for customers? Like, are they happy in their interactions? How do we rate that? Like, we don't have a rating scale. We just literally read the tickets and vibe it out right now. It's like, seems upset, and it's like 7,000 cuss words. They seem a little bit angry, but like, how do we score that? And I do think an AI tool can help you with that. I think it could help deflect if that's your goal, but you really have to ask yourself like, okay, cool. We know our business need, but how could we as a CX team work towards that need, but not sacrifice the quality of our customer experience?
Right.
Yes.
Right. Well, I think some people, like, I think about it from a deflection standpoint.
Yeah.
But it all depends on audience, right?
Yes.
So like I'm thinking about it from a deflection standpoint. So if I'm looking at like a creator-led brand, right? Like I know because I come from that space that like I'm going to get a lot of inquiries about that person being a fan of that individual selling the product, right? So those are tickets. Like I still want them to have a dope experience, but I kind of want them to be deflected, right?
Yes.
Like when I worked at Feastables, like the I Love Mr. Beast, like those are sick. I want you to have a sick experience, but at the same time, like I really need my team to concentrate on like the human experience that like the customers need, right?
Yes.
So like I think about it from like deflection, but I absolutely agree with you that I think we haven't even scratched the surface from like sentiment analysis and any sort of like data points, right? Like I think there's tools out there that are definitely doing it, but now it's like we don't need to constantly think about it from a deflection standpoint. We need to think about it of like, how do you analyze thousands upon thousands of tickets to understand a feedback loop, a sentiment loop, to then drive that into the rest of the company?
Yes. And I think that even from, again, it's like, it depends on like who your audience is. And so the T, it's not really T. The T is that we tried to implement an AI tool. And I think all of it is definitely how well you could train that AI.
Yeah.
Then we realized during that period how complex our interactions were, because we were drawing from so many channels. Like there's only so many things you can keyword. There's only so many things that like you can predict from our customers. Like, cause someone could say, I love Doctor Squatch, but in the same breath be like, my niece used it and got the worst reaction. And we're like, oh, and what if like you're working, you know, with like one of those tools and it routes that first part of that interaction? Like our customers will send us 7-paragraph essays. And I'm like convinced that all of them are like English majors because they're also like,
smart.
Okay, the prose is giving. One of them will make it up to me. I'm like, all right, like we know who was an English double major. But like it gets to be very complex when you're looking for an AI tool, but you don't even know what you want. Yeah. Right now, we're just kind of like, okay, let's figure that out, guys. But I think in terms of, I mean, what brand was it? And feel free to like, it would be so funny if there's like a bleep when I say this. I think it was American Airlines where their generative AI tool made a policy.
Was it Ford?
It was like a,
okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm anticipating there being like bleeps when we're saying those things. That'd be hilarious. But anyway, their generative AI made up like a policy that they had to just like adhere to because it was just told to the customer. And I think that is probably great customer experience that they even like honored it. But like, I
think like Ford, there was like a story about Ford did something crazy where it's like somebody messed with the AI and sold them a vehicle for $1. Yeah.
And you will have to think about how much time you can put in as a team to train that, what like repercussions you're ready for in terms of like, what if a generative AI tool like told a customer that our soaps contained like this thing or like 100% natural? That would be wild. Like, because we'd be like, okay, we have testing and like it's 98 to 100% naturally derived, but like we'd hear police sirens, I'd get swatted, like I'd be like screeching in the background.
Yeah, you can't have it hallucinating on your clients about like your consumer
that'd be wild.
packaged good.
But I do trust the process when it comes to AI. I think it's so new and everybody's hopping in on it. I think that something that we do really well is learn from everyone else. Like everyone at Doctor Squatch, we kiki with everybody. We're like, what are you guys doing? How's it going?
Yeah.
And then we make that decision based off of our needs, based off of how it helped someone we know really well. It's all about rapport.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, we've come to the end of the road. Like I told you, it goes by so quick.
This literally flew by. It feels like 5 minutes. I love yapping.
I do. I love yapping with Roma.
Yes.
Roma, tell the crowd where they can find you because I think you have really valuable insights, and I want people to talk to you more about this.
You can find me on LinkedIn. I think it's / Roma Yumul. And otherwise, that's really just
at Doctor Squatch.
Oh, at Doctor Squatch. If you email the support team and you mention my name, they might freak out and then send it to me. So you can do that.
I'll put at least her LinkedIn in the show notes.
Yes.
I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me.
It's so nice seeing you in Vegas.
I know.
And to everybody out there, we'll see you next week. Hey, wow, you made it to the end of the episode. That means that you like me and I like you, which also means you should subscribe to this show.